So this is part 2 of my video about Kiss Ultra, and I have been flying this, which is the Archon V3, and it was my intention to do to release part 2 of the Kiss Ultra video with a full build of this guy, but because of a lot of nightmare issues I had while building it, the build video will come after this, and I'll discuss the issues I've had. But to cut a long story short, Kiss Ultra, the big song and dance about it was, of course, the fact that it had Blheli pass-through, which now works on all the ESCs I've got. And of course, it had that really clever OSD, which, if you're an analog pilot, you will love. And even as someone who tends to run DJI like I do, there are lots of things within it which make your life simpler. The fact you can easily switch motor order and things like that just within the OSD. But the purpose of this video today is really to discuss Kiss Ultra flying. So as I said, I've built my Archon V3. It's running a T-Motor F55 Pro 2, the aforementioned Kiss Ultra by Alexander Fedorov, and I'm using unmanned Tex 2207.5 motors with Cadex Vista. I'm a little bit excited. If you've been around this channel for a while, you know that I'm kind of a skeptic, and I'm quite harsh on most things, much to a lot of people's annoyment. So when I heard about Kiss Ultra, I loved the fact that Alexander was doing this, that we would finally have Blheli pass through. I have flown Kiss with Blheli ESCs in the past. That's how I got into Kiss. And I got into Kiss because I got sick of people telling me that it was better, and I thought I'd try myself and prove them wrong. And 2 years down the line, 5 years flying, I tend to fly Kiss pretty much entirely now. So when I found out about this, as I said, I was excited about the OSD, which is something that Kiss hasn't had built in for so long. I was excited about the fact that it had a H7 processor. I was excited about the fact it had tons of UARTs and BL pass-through. My slight hesitation about it was how much of that Kiss feel we would lose by using Blheli ESCs. And I thought the whole idea of it was a great way to get people who have maybe always flown Betaflight just to pop on a Kiss Ultra flight controller and just test it out and see if you like it, as opposed to Betaflight. Just a really sort of simple, hassle-free option. At the back of this, I was thinking, we're using Blheli ESCs, it will fly great, but we'll probably lose maybe 10 to 15% of what gives Kiss its specialness, and that applies to FETEC as well. The ESCs run differently than Blheli, and they tend to be smoother, albeit possibly lack a little bit of power compared to the same setup on Blheli 32. So despite what I was told and despite what I heard, I was expecting this video to be me saying, yeah, it's great, it's good for this, it's nearly as good as Kiss or Kiss ESCs, nearly as good as using FETEC ESCs, blah, blah, blah. And I'm really excited to say I'm blown away with how this guy flies. I haven't tuned it. I set some PIDs which I thought would be okay. Alexander told me that people were saying that it tends to sort of like PIDs, so the 20, 25, 30% higher than Kiss. I've put mine a little bit higher in the flight footage that you'll see later on, but I haven't tuned it. And I'm absolutely blown away by how it flies. And the difficulty I've got is this particular quad with Kiss Ultra flies better than my FETEC, full FETEC builds with FETEC ESCs using sine wave technology. And as FETEC is essentially a fork of Kiss, pretty similar in the air, I'm blown away. Alex said to me that Kiss V2 was your hands, your radio, and then the quad. And some people reported that the KISS Ultra was your hands and the quad. And I kind of didn't really understand how that would be possible. However, he said that when he added the H7 processor on, he had to basically rewrite the code for KISS to get it to run properly with a much faster processor. And I can feel the difference. And I hate the word latency because it tends to be used by people who are sort of, yes, I can feel the 2 microseconds difference of latency. It's changed my world and made pink elephants fly from the sky. But it feels more responsive, quicker, like there's less latency running through the system. And although this quad isn't fully tuned, I can immediately feel the difference. And this guy is using Blheli 32.7 because I've heard quite a lot of issues with 32.8. It's running 48k PWM. It's running DShot 2400 because it's got an F3 ESC on board. But I've set it up in a really basic way, and even then I can feel that the quad just feels more locked into what I'm doing. And you know, as I said, I've flown for 5 years, I've flown KISS for years, I've built hundreds of different quads, and albeit right now my flying is super rusty because for the last 6 to 8 months I haven't had much stick time, I still fly often enough that I can tell the difference. So basically the footage that you're going to see is me basically ringing and flinging this guy around for 2 reasons. One, as I said, I'm kind of a bit of a pig, and I thought it'd be quite funny to see if I could break Bloods' new frame, which I failed to do, although I did break both his battery straps in a faceplant. But the quad itself stood up perfectly to my bashing. And yeah, I just basically went out, put 10 or 15 packs through KISS Ultra, and all I can say is I'm absolutely blown away by what it did, the way it responds, how responsive it is, how clean the throttle feels. I was flying using Ethics candy cane props, and the props that the props in the videos that you're going to see are not new props. They've got scuffs and you know, been clipped on trees, etc. So it's not an absolutely clean setup, yeah, but it flew absolutely brilliantly. Little sniff of prop wash that I can really easily get rid of, but I just didn't feel the need to fiddle too much because I was just having too much fun, and that's what this is all around. So yeah, I'm a skeptical guy, I don't like hype, but absolutely blown away by KISS Ultra. Current sensing now works via the analog current on your ESC, so that's been sorted. You run it via the camera control pad and switch off UART 5 within the configurator, and you can also bypass that if your ESC has a wildly inaccurate current sensor. There's also a new wizard which has been built into the OSD, which basically you fly a pack, basically charge your battery up, make a note of how many milliamp hours you've put back into the battery, slap it in the configurator, and it tells you what to set it up as. So yeah, really super simple. And that's just the start of it. I've seen other things that Alexander's working on, which are really exciting. So yeah, I'll leave you with me crashing and bashing and basically just having tons of fun. And all I can say is, if you're like me, thought this would be a diluted KISS experience, it wasn't in the slightest. And the fact that we now have a whole host of different ESC options is really, really exciting. Just to touch on ESCs, as I've said before, you'll need an F3 processor to get DShot 2400, which is ideally what you want to run on KISS. The majority of people seem to be running Teco 32 F3s. As I said, I'm running T-Motor The only ESC that I'd be careful of is the Teco F4, which seems to have a number of problems in flight and with its current sensor. I'm not sure whether that's down to it running the latest Blheli 32.8 firmware, or whether it's the ESC design itself, but just stay clear for now if you're thinking about using that particular ESC. So yeah, cheers guys. Thanks to Alexander for developing this. Thanks to Bloods at Halorc for sending me this frame. It's turned out to be an absolute cracker, and I will, now that I'm happy that everything is as it should be, I'll finish off my build video, and that should come pretty soon. I'll flash up the PIDs that I was using here, but as I said, it's not tuned, it's just a set of PIDs that I started off with. Cheers guys, thanks, bye bye.